April 2024.
A NASA plane is crossing the ice sheet of northern Greenland, and its radar is pointed straight down, through a mile of ice, looking for bedrock. Instead, something answers. 100 feet below the surface. A city. You're listening to Lost Signals, and tonight's transmission comes from under the ice. The year is 1959, and the Cold War is at its coldest. The United States Army arrives in northwest Greenland, 800 miles from the North Pole, with a strange announcement. They're going to build a research station inside the ice sheet itself. They called it Camp Century. The newspapers called it the city under the ice. 21 tunnels cut straight into the glacier, with a main street over 1,000 feet long. There were dormitories down there, a hospital, a chapel, a theater, even a barber shop. 200 men lived beneath the snow, while up on the surface the temperature fell to 70 below, and the wind screamed past at 120 miles an hour. And to keep this frozen city alive, the Army did something nobody had done before. They lowered a nuclear reactor into the ice. The PM-2A, portable, prefabricated, one of the first of its kind anywhere on Earth. And here's the thing, Camp Century wasn't hidden. There were newsreels, magazine spreads. They even sent 2 Boy Scouts to spend the winter down there. It was all very, very public, which is exactly what a good cover story looks like. Because underneath the newsreels, there was a second project, one the cameras never saw. Project Iceworm. The real plan was to keep digging, thousands of miles of tunnels spreading silently beneath the ice sheet. And inside them, 600 nuclear missiles aimed across the Arctic at the Soviet Union. Greenland belonged to Denmark. Denmark was never told. The world wouldn't hear the name Iceworm until 1997. On paper, it was brilliant. An entire missile field, invisible from above, shifting, untraceable. But the plan had one flaw. The ice. Ice looks solid. It isn't. It flows, slowly, silently, like something alive. Within a few years, the tunnel walls began to close in. Ceilings sagged. Steel arches groaned in the dark. Crews carved the walls back, month after month, and the ice just kept coming. In 1964, they pulled the reactor out. By 1967, the last men climbed up to the surface and left. They took the secrets. They left almost everything else. The buildings, the railway, 53,000 gallons of diesel fuel, sewage sitting in unlined pits, and the reactor's radioactive coolant flushed straight into the ice. The official assessment was simple. The snow would keep falling. The ice would keep it all, forever. Forever. And here, the story turns. Because while the missile men were fighting the ice, the scientists of Camp Century were drilling into it. down through 4,500 feet, nearly a mile. The first ice core ever to reach the bottom of an ice sheet. That single core helped give birth to modern climate science. 100,000 years of Earth's weather read like the rings of a tree. But at the very bottom of that hole, the drill kept going. 12 more feet into frozen soil. Nobody cared about the mud. It was packed away, shipped from freezer to freezer, and forgotten for half a century. Until 2017, when someone found it again, in glass cookie jars, in a freezer in Copenhagen, and inside that frozen mud, there were leaves, twigs, moss. Greenland had been green. 416,000 years ago, the mile of ice above Camp Century simply wasn't there. Tundra, flowing water, sunlight, which means the ice sheet is not a fortress. It has died before, in a climate only slightly warmer than ours. The Army's own drill had pulled up the evidence, proof that the one thing they were counting on, permanence, was a myth. Which brings us back to that radar image. April 2024. The city is still down there. Main Street, the dormitories, the chapel. Crushed slowly in the dark, 100 feet under the snow. But still there. And the climate models, descended from its own ice core, now suggest that near the end of this century, the melting could begin to reach it. The diesel, the waste, the coolant. They trusted the ice to forget. But ice doesn't forget. It keeps, it preserves. And when the time comes, it gives everything back. This has been Lost Signals. Keep listening.